This is Johnny, known as Johnny Two Scoobs.
And now, Johnny No Scoobs.
I know Johnny because of his Subaru, and then of course because of something else, which was another Subaru, and then another Subaru, and then this Mercedes 190e, which I did a test drive in not so long back. Do you like this car still, Johnny?
I love this car. I love it more and more with every day.
And this is my Rover 420 GSI Tourer. And this is a car that Johnny has expressed quite a deep interest in, isn't it?
Well, it's just so pretty and it's just so lovely.
This is a car that I wouldn't get rid of. But Johnny here said he likes it so much he would actually swap his Mercedes 190e for it.
Oh, would I?
On the face of it, the 190e is worth probably twice as much money, maybe even more, which means that I would have to be a great dangling donkey durgle in order to actually say no to this particular offer. But if he drives it, will he still feel the same way? And as much as I like the old Mercedes, could I really have this instead of my lovely Rover? Tough one.
Very tough.
Is it? There's only one way to find out whether...
Only one way to find out. Give me the keys.
So what cars have you always liked then, Johnny?
Subarus, obviously. I like an old Volvo. I've always loved an old Volvo. And the old Morris Minors. I love my Morris Minors too.
And Mercedes.
And the Mercedes. Yeah, I'm not. That's a fairly recent thing. And the Rovers. I'm very new to Roverland as well. It's very nice.
That's the first time you've actually sat in it, isn't it?
I've sat in it, yeah.
And you're adjusting the seat for your particular height. Messing with the gearbox. Messing with the handle. Messing with the steering. Messing with the steering wheel. Oh, no, the...
The things I love the most about this car is just this interior and all this gorgeous wood, lovely, nice steering wheel, and the seats are beautifully bolstered. It just feels like I could be very happy in these. So,
Very happy.
very happy. Like a well-bolstered seat, viewers. Tap test. Beautiful quality soft plastic on there. I love that.
It is, isn't it? It's better than you'd expect.
Really nice. It's actually kind of nicer than the Mercedes, actually. But it's these seats. They look great and they feel fabulous. So, I mean, they're very firm. They're firmer than I was expecting them to be. But they actually remind me in the way they hold you of the Impreza seats. Some of the most comfortable seats I've ever sat in. So, yeah, it's lovely. The wood is walnut, isn't it? Which is...
Yeah, it's actually some proper wood in there.
That is proper wood. And obviously it's proper wood in the Mercedes, but it's not so lovely and psychedelic in the Mercedes. It's a bit of the swirly bits. So, yeah.
Good legroom in the back of here as well.
Probably better than the Merc.
Well, possibly. I certainly think it's better than the 75.
Right, okay.
Which
This is a much bigger car.
Which is a bigger car, but it's bigger on the outside. It's to appeal to the Jag drivers, I thought.
Yeah.
The typical image of the Jag driver, English, sporty little man that can whip in and out of his car really quickly, and they forget that actually most of them are just big, balding, wine-swilling gits. So you do think that's comfortable?
I do, yeah. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't, I think, because it's very firm.
This is going to be the best bit.
Decent size,
And we have the obligatory hat.
but this is the bit I don't like. I don't like this.
You don't like that?
I don't like that because I like something a little more flexible that goes more out of the way, and I have a dog, and I don't think the dog would be happy with this.
Well, you remove it altogether.
Remove it altogether.
Yeah. I thought you'd be impressed by that.
It's kind of cool, but I think it would annoy me.
Turns out it's not a selling point after all. Balls.
Nice carpet.
Yeah.
Very nice carpeting.
Yeah, it wants
That is quality, isn't it?
a lot of nice things about my Rover, eh, Johnny?
Some very nice things.
They're
yes.
very nice things indeed, eh?
Very nice.
Well, what about your Mercedes, though? As I remember, I liked this car.
You did.
So let's, I'll remind myself why.
You said it was very, very good. Don't do that.
What I think actually here is that the door actually feels a lot lighter than I was expecting. You'd expect it to feel really heavy, but it doesn't.
It feels very, very solid though. No, she's not pristine.
No, that's been off, hasn't it, at some point?
Yeah, more than likely, but it's, as I say, the door cards are a weak point on the 190Es. They all come apart there.
Inside this car, we can see, well, I would say a similar level of quality to the Rover. Now, that will probably upset a few Mercedes fans, but in actual fact, it's true, because this is nice and solid. It's what old Mercedes were. They were better than the ones that came afterwards, but Rover did a fantastic job. Just because the cars made afterwards were crap, blame BMW for that. They were the ones with the penny pinching. What did they pinch out the pennies? Yeah, basically robbing the little piggy bank of doom.
I think you'll find that was the Phoenix people, not BMW.
No, I think you'll find that BMW started it.
They started it.
They started it right from the off.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
why has it got two of them?
I have no idea.
Maybe one's to one that the door's open, and the other is to switch the interior light on.
Yeah, probably. That works forever.
The stuff that works forever, the attention to detail, stuff like that there, that means that you can always have a nice, well, I was going to say a nice door shut sound, but I think the interior though, I do like the interior. Did I describe this as deck chairs? I did. I did. I said it was like deck chairs. Not so much for the feel, but for the look of them.
Ah, right. Well, you'd said that immediately after saying they're not very comfortable.
Well, no, they are comfortable, but I don't right. I don't imagine them being massively supportive on a long journey.
Well, on a long journey, they actually are. When I first bought this car, I got in and thought, oh, it's nowhere near as comfortable as my W202 C-Class. And I shifted about a bit, and then I drove all the way down from Kendal, and when I got home, I realised that I hadn't shifted my arse once and didn't even think about the seats. Therefore, ergo, comfortable.
Good. Looks like we're conducting some sort of illicit deal.
You can unlock the whole car from the boot.
Mercedes boot, quite deep, quite wide. Not particularly long. Other boot, quite wide, a bit longer, and obviously it's an estate car, so it has some extra practicality. Which boot do you prefer, Johnny?
Yeah, I think it's a draw. If we take away the practicality because it's an estate and it's an unfair advantage, I think they're both nicely upholstered and attractive. And actually maybe the Mercedes has the edge because it's got nice little cubbies on either side that you can hide stuff in. This little shallow cubby there.
Yep.
Fits a bottle of wine perfectly. Won't move around anywhere.
Yeah, that's just one bottle of wine.
It's one bottle of wine.
Well, that's not much good, is it?
Yeah, but you don't have to put it in a bag with other things in the boot where it'll rattle around and everything. Just plonk it there, won't move.
Yeah, but if you've got enough bottles of wine in the boot, they won't rattle around anyway.
Well, yeah, they'll clank, and you don't want clanking. Clanking is bad. Citroen AX actually had a compartment for a wine bottle by the driver's door.
We're not talking about Citroens here, Johnny.
I know, but this is better. These Germans think of everything. Otherwise, the reason I like this car, it's just so pretty. It's perfect. I mean, it's just got the estate car thing perfect. It doesn't look like it's an add-on.
It doesn't look like what?
It doesn't look like an add-on.
Oh no, it doesn't. No.
Like it was always designed to be an estate car.
Which
is kind of looks a little bit similar to the kind of E30 Touring, but it's its own thing. It's not kind of copying it. But it's just as handsome, I think.
Also, it has alloy wheels, all round. It has one on each corner, whereas yours has wheel trims.
Yeah, but mine are cooler.
Yeah, they are cool wheel trims.
The trims are totally cool.
This car doesn't look right with alloys anyway.
No, I prefer these.
Yeah.
I think it's just... I mean, it dates it,
but it dates it in the way where it should do. Yeah. It dates it to where it was. Alloys would just make it look garish.
Well, the alloys they did do for them are actually quite tasteful. I mean, they're not
They're not, are they?
Well, they're not. And a gentle. And bet yours doesn't do this.
Oh, service position.
Service position.
That is steep. Oh, the difference is we have a longitudinal engine for the rear wheel drive against a transverse engine for the front wheel drive. One of the problems with being at the side of the road in a Rover is people are going to assume your head gasket's gone. Johnny, what size engine does this car have?
This is a 2 litre.
And how many horsepower does it have?
It has 122 horsepower.
Nice. And mine is equally a 2 litre with 136 horsepower, which is most.
I wasn't very good at maths at school. Yeah, oh, head shift. It's not. Oh, the steering is so much better than my Merc. It's actually quite nice steering. We are doing the speed limit. Oh, I lied. Seats are great. Shall I put the window up? How'd you put the window up?
That suit.
I fucking loved that. Can't say. You can put a bleep over that bit.
No, that's got to go in.
That was actually better than I thought it was going to be.
Was it?
Yeah, it really picks up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I like that it's on the wrong side.
As I've just been out in my car, it's a very good way to compare this to my own car. And there are a couple of things I prefer about this, I will admit. The first one being is that actually it's a lot more comfortable. It really is. On my model, it's a GSI model, so the suspension is just a bit stiffened up. So it's not typical of the R8. This is typical of a 190. It's very, very smooth. I really do like the view over the bonnet with the big Mercedes badge there. That feels quite special. It feels like a much bigger car than it actually is because it's so soft and pliant, and this great big bus steering wheel and the extra good horn. That's a good horn, that. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to turn around here and actually put my foot down. Excellent turning circle. It's not bad. It offers nowhere near the get up and go that the Rover does, but it's a very different car. It's a very silly comparison, if I'm absolutely honest about this, because they're cars of a different era. They're cars for not an entirely different purpose or an entirely different person, but they're just not really that alike, except of course they were in many ways competitors, competing for some of the same markets. So maybe it's not such a silly idea after all. I really like this car. It's one of the few cars that I could just happily waft around in all day, every day, when I'm not sleeping or working, that is. I'm making videos about wafting around. It doesn't encourage me to drive silly. It's just a nice lolloping German thingy that doesn't rattle or anything. It's just a very nice drive. It's pleasant all round. The question is, would I actually swap this for my Rover? I've come to a conclusion. Have you?
Yes.
Right. Should we go for a cup of tea then?
Let's do it.
Right.
Ows!
They're on a little journey somewhere.
Conclusions.
Yeah. Should I go first?
You go first.
Well, my car is one of those that I don't want to get rid of. And there are other cars that I like as much. And that's one of them. Also, something like an old Volvo would be suitable. An old Mercedes estate would work. There aren't many cars that I would say I like that as much as my car. But the trouble is, I'd like that. I would like to have it, but I don't want to get rid of my car.
That's exactly my conclusion. I absolutely loved the Rover. I think it's very much my kind of car. It's from the right period. It looks lovely. It's comfortable to drive. It's easy to drive. Everything you would want. But so's that. And I love it, and I've grown attached to it. And when you did the video of it, I was thinking about selling it, and that's not happening now.
So you actually hung on to that car because of my video of it?
Largely, yeah. I mean, I've watched that video a number
That's
of
what you
times.
just said.
Yeah, I've watched that
Didn't
video.
work for the Subaru, did it?
No, no. Although that is one of my biggest selling regrets. Is that green Impreza. I can't even watch that video now.
I wonder why the views have gone down.
Yeah, that was all me.
So but the conclusion is what I thought it would be, which it's just a silly idea, really, wasn't it?
A very silly idea, and as you did point out, the Mercedes is probably worth at least twice what the Rover is, probably more, particularly once I've got that speckly grille done and the doors fixed.
But is it twice as good?
Is it twice as good? Is it as fun to drive?
No. I'll tell you what, let's go through something here.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I prefer about that to mine.
Okay.
I like it because it's older.
Mm-hmm.
I like the relaxed feel of it.
Yeah.
I actually like the wind turbine wheel trims.
I do. Yeah.
And I just like the overall package of just this relatively small saloon car that drives like a big car.
Yeah, it's the experience, isn't it? It's that whole thing of getting into a car and it being an occasion, and particularly when you're just cruising along and you've got that three-pointed star there in the front, and it's just it's a relaxed experience. Well, the other thing I like about it is that you can hustle it if you want to, and it's kind of fun. It can be fun, but you don't feel like doing it that often.
No. Well, the same with mine. It's there is a faster version, although not in a state form.
No.
But it's quick enough just to drive normally.
Yeah.
You don't need
absolutely.
to be a knob.
Yeah.
But what I prefer about mine actually is going to be that, for one, it is British, and it's very British.
Yeah.
It feels British. I feel nostalgic while driving it. I feel like I'm tipping my hat to the king as I go along.
Yeah.
And I love the seats, and I really, really like the interior. I like the interior in that, but
it's a very different ambience, isn't it?
Nothing beats the R8 interior as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the R8 interior just has the right level of luxury, for want of a better word, in terms of, you've got the wood, the really beautiful feel, plastics and all that kind of stuff. Whereas the Mercedes it's a kind of functional austere. I mean, it's a bit of a cliche with the old Mercs. I mean, for Germans, luxury was just making sure things work and last. Whereas with the Rover, there's a bit more of the, again, cliche gentleman's club about it. Which
I accepted a dare the other day, which was to eat nothing but German sausages for the whole day.
I could do that.
It was the worst day ever.
The worst day ever. Love it. Yeah. Well, I shall tell you what I liked about the R8. As you said, it's the interior. I love the looks of it as well, and it was a really engaging car to drive. You can drive it in a spirited fashion, but again, don't feel like you need to. You don't have to drive like a knob in it, which you do in an Impreza. It wants you to,
Yeah.
basically, which is one of the reasons I did get rid of my Imprezas, because I want to keep my license. But yeah, I mean, I love most things about it, and I probably would. And again, I love the Britishness as well, and I would consider possibly exchanging that one for a pristine one. And bless Toby Charles, he's a lovely car, but his condition is maybe not.
Well, it was bought as a crashed car.
Well, this is true, and you've done a fine job bringing him back to life.
Yeah, and it's an ongoing
Absolutely.
project because there's
Yeah.
so many more things to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are on the Mercedes. I mean, it's got the horrible acne diseased grille on the front. The rear door latches don't work. It needs a little bit of fine tuning with the idling, and things like the door cards and everything. So and that rear bumper's a bit wonky. So again, it's kind of like, it's not a project car, but it's an improver over timer.
It's a good everyday classic.
Yeah, and it's a great classic that you can daily.
Yeah.
As well. So, and I actually tend to take it out more for kind of local things than I do the 75 as well. Sometimes, and actually more often than not, if there's a choice, which there is, because they're both my cars, I jump in that one. Probably because it's a more relaxing drive. I mean, 75 obviously is relaxing, but
That's more relaxing.
Because and again,
Now, I'll tell you what, if I had your 75 and you offered me a swap for that, which they turned out you changed your mind on anyway, I'd go for it. I'd say, yeah. Obviously, the V6 manual is a V6 manual estate.
hen's teeth.
Yeah, hen's teeth. I'd go for that.
Yeah.
I would actually say yes. Let's not drive each other's cars. Let's just swap keys straight away before you change your mind. That's the difference.
Yeah. No, I love my Tourer, but actually, in terms of, yes, it is a relaxing drive, but with that manual box in it and that V6, I like to press on. So, yeah, and it's not. I don't find it as comfortable as the Mercedes either.
No. It's going to rain, and I think we're going to have to call that an end. So, thank you. Thank you very much. Non-deal.
Non-deal.